Hello. So today I'm going to come and talk about the Jim Crow laws and the videos that we watched from the Jim Crow 35-minute video, the What was Jim Crow, and then the Black Student Activist. Reading, watching, I learned a lot. It showed me something that I never really understood on a deeper level. Watching the Jim Crow with the Homer versus Plessy Ferguson, I've heard about it before, but watching the video, it really showed me how deep it was for Black people. How I guess we don't have to summarize. We're able to fully just talk about it as well. For me, it was just when you watched it from the beginning to end and you see how he talks about how Homer Plessy was a 7/8 white man and 1/8 Black man. It shows me how deep it runs in like the Black communities. Like, cause for me, my mother is a mixed woman. My grandma's a white woman. So when I was younger, I would say, oh, well, I have like 1/4 of white in me. And then when I moved my dad's family, I understand a bit more now why they embedded like, no, you're Black. One drop Black, you're Black, because it now makes me have a more understanding that it's like, no matter what you might have in you, once you have any part of Black in you, you are that. And it's very admirable for someone like me. I'm an activist, I'm an advocate. You've kind of seen, I'm going to take it there with people. I'm over beef with USA and CHP right now. But to see how these people really put their lives on the line, I don't think I could say I would be willing to do that. I'm going to be honest with you. So it was very beautiful to see how we've had people, our ancestors in the past, having to put their lives literally on the line for us to be able to have the opportunities we have now. And seeing how things were able to come together, like how we kind of are now, we're able to, coexist. But then seeing how like hate can be infiltrated and it can change the dynamic. Because you see like Louisiana, you always hear them say like Louisiana white people are a little different. And you kind of see in the video how it was saying how they were able to, coexist. And then there were people that just had so much hatred filled in them, the mobs and stuff, that believe that they shouldn't be as one coexisting. That then, it created the Jim Crow era where they felt that they had to assert their dominance, which you kind of see happening now in a sense, like the white superiority. And seeing how even though it was these amendments, our 4th, 15th, and I believe 16th were passed, they were only looked at on a certain level. Which then is kind of like, I understand that sometimes you have to kind of take it there with people. And then reading the Black Student Activist, like as a young Black woman in college, like I've always labeled myself as a foster youth. I didn't really focus on like me being a Black, being a Black young woman trying to focus on school. And seeing it now makes me realize that it really was something that had to be fought for. Like it was never given. The separate but equal was, nonsense, because it was never going to be separate but equal. If we're then separating us and we can't coexist, how are we then equals? And then seeing how I was talking about how like the white women being whistled at or different things like that by Black men. And you see how there were a lot of times where the fear was installed because for a white woman, I could be wrong, I don't know, right? But I look at it kind of like how, if you look at it, how other cultures, like they have like, it's like honor things, like for a white woman and then go be with a Black man, there's no honor in that. And I believe that even if a white woman did like Black men, like my grandmother, she, they passed away, but my grandmother, she would have been in her 60s now. She passed away a few years ago. See, she was a white woman, right? You can see it. And then you see my granddaddy, and he was a Black man. And my mom, she's almost 40 now. She's in her 30s. And you see how, like, they were in the military together, and it probably wasn't easy for them. And it just kind of makes me see how all of these things had to be fought for, from the schooling to even, like, my own lineage, like, with my mother being a mixed woman. And then it also then shows you kind of, like, how the Jim Crow era was set up. Like, my mom wasn't alive and then, but it kind of shows me like why some people have that confusion, because even if they are half and half, they still are labeled Black, but they know that they have this. And I see how a lot of this can create confusion as well in our communities. it's saying like, mulattoes. Well, it didn't say exactly mulattoes, but it said like white women and black men like mixing together would, create kind of like savages, or I've heard the exact terminology, but basically it would wipe out, the white people. When you see stuff like that, it's like crazy because, right? Look at this. They were literally raping black women to create these mixed people that they claim are going to destroy, but they were using them as slaves. And then like now with me seeing how understanding like Louisiana, right? I don't know if it's Louisiana or New Orleans specifically, right? But one half of the black men in Louisiana, if I'm not mistaken, cannot vote. That was before. I don't know if that statistic is still true, but it's crazy how when you see that these people were trying to grow and elevate to the next level, they were just brought down. And it's very disheartening seeing like whenever they were building something for themselves, like the Black Wall Street, different things, it was all completely just looted and taken down. So it makes me realize it's not that black people haven't progressed or don't have it. It's that no matter where they try to go, they're knocked down, knocked down, knocked down. And for me, I want to be a lawyer. I want to be an advocate, especially for foster youth, being I was in foster youth from 15 to 18. But this then shows me just like a different level of things. Like you're really fighting. We're still really fighting this fight, which is mind-boggling. Like it's not as bad as this is. Like because white women, black men, white women together, that all of that. But the real systematic, the real root. I think that we still have that issue and that we've kind of made it where it's okay. But in those smaller cities, smaller towns, like my mom was in Rock Hill, South Carolina. I'd be scared for my brother because it's like we live in the city. Like we have different issues, but those lynchings, all that, it is still a fear. And even like with the police, I get fearful as well. And maybe that's deep-rooted trauma that's in us because, police really were made to, kidnap blacks. And then you see that they were part of these white riots and stuff. And it's just, man, Professor, I don't want to say we're doomed, but I don't think we've we've gotten far, but it's still deeply in there. And that's the issue. And so my whole take on the Jim Crow is that I'm glad that we had ancestors that were able to fight and stand up. I mean, they just came out of slavery. There's probably like, someone's got to stand up. And I'm glad they did. More power to them. And I'm glad that I'm learning more about this as well, seeing how all these different people and social groups had to keep going to get us to even where we are. And we still have to continue to advance. And yeah, thank you for coming to my talk. I hope I did well. Have a good day.